and last teller is also a special friend that I met through the storytelling circle, the Asheville Storytelling Circle. And we were sitting together in the third row back there. We were sitting back there in the third row. And we were talking, and you might have heard a couple of strange laughs. One belongs to my wife. Cindy let us have a little laugh. And the other belongs to our next storyteller, Charlie St. Clair. Charlie, a little laugh? There you go. Charlie is a lot of fun. And while we were talking, he told us that he and his wife, Susie, have been in Asheville for more than 40 years. And they've been married for 49. And Cindy and I felt so inferior because we've only been here for 18 years and we've only been married for 46. But Charlie St. Clair is a lot of fun as a storyteller and as a human being. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Charlie St. Clair.
Good job, good job. Well, let's give it up for Chuck, because one of the things that could, what is going on with this? I'm going to be that way.
Yeah. Can you tighten this? They got it. There you go. They got it.
Oh, well. Yeah, Chuck's done a great job as emceeing. You know. So let's go with that. And as for Sherry, I got to tell you, my mother was over 42 when I was born, and that explains a lot. I was also born on April 1st, which explains the rest of it. At any rate, this story that I want to tell you was gifted to me, in a sense, by Gwenda Ledbetter. And Gwenda is a national treasure and was one of the founders of the Asheville Storytelling Circle. And she suggested that I tell this story, which is called Doc Melhorn and the Pearly Gates. I've adapted it from a short story by Stephen Vincent Benet. Now, Doc Melhorn never thought he'd go anywhere when he died, so he was surprised to find himself on the road again. Well, let me tell you something about Doc. He came to us with a lot of brand new ideas about medicine and left us some 40-odd years later with a first-class county health record and a lot of people alive that wouldn't have been if he hadn't been there. Oh, now some people called him a stubborn old mule, and one weepy old lady called him a saint. I told Doc about that once. He looked at me over the top of his glasses and said, "Always respected a mule. Got 10 times the sense of a horse." Then he pulled a silver $50 out of my ear. Now, how do you describe a man like that? You don't. You just call him up at 3 o'clock in the morning when you need him, and he comes. Now, people came over 200 miles to the funeral. The Masons from Cedar City and the Poles from across the tracks with a wreath the size of a house. But it was after the funeral things got strange for Doc. Last thing he remembered, he'd been lying in bed, really sick. Now he was driving his Model T down this long highway through rolling hills. His bag was on the seat next to him, so he knew he was on a call, but he couldn't quite remember where. After a while, the roadway changed. Now it was Landscape Parkway, and at intervals, there were little white signs that said, "To the gates." He pulled over, checked in his bag, everything was good, checked his pulse, steady. Then just to prove everything was normal, he pulled a silver $50 out of the steering wheel. Never did it better. This is the new highway, it's longer than I remember. Not that I believe any of this. Then he saw the gates. They stretched all the way across the valley and reached all the way to the sky. The reception clerk knew just who he was. "Yes, Doc Melhorn. Now, what would you like to do first?" "Well, I don't know. See, I don't believe any of this." So I, quite all right, sir. Sometimes it takes some time. And Doc suddenly realized he was either there or he wasn't. And it certainly felt like he was. Well, okay, what do you suggest? Well, you could take a tour or meet with relatives. Well, there's mother and father and grandma. I'm not ready for them. How about Uncle Frank? Is he here? I'll check the register. I'm happy to report that a Francis V. Horn arrived a few years ago. Really? That must have been a great relief to Mother. We heard, well, sometimes we think that maybe non-relatives would be good. Maybe meet with some distinguished colleagues. Oh, that's an idea. Of course, I'd like to meet with Pasteur and Walter Reed, and there's one fellow, only he lived a long time ago. Hippocrates? No, not Hippocrates. It's Asclepius I'm thinking about. Ask Asclepius I'm thinking about. Wait a minute. Where's my patient? Patient? Yes, patient. If I have my bag here with me, I must have been called professionally. Where's my patient? But no one is ill here. No one can be ill. You mean to tell me it's not so much as a case of mumps in the whole establishment? I assure you. Well, wait, I remember. You have anyone named Grew here? Paisley Grew? I'll check the register. Well, we have 93,134 Grews, but no Paisley. Are you quite sure of the name? Yes, of course, Paisley Grew. Chronic ingestion. Maybe appendix. Can't be sure. I have to go. But where are you going? Well, there's another establishment, isn't there? Always heard there was. Call must have come from there. Crossed wires, I expect. But you can't go there. Can't go? I'm a doctor. A patient is called. Do I need a map? Well, there is a back road in rather bad repair, I'm told. I could check. Never mind, I'll find it. He pulled a silver $50 from the doorknob. See that? Slick as a whistle. Well, goodbye. Thank you for your help. Doc found the road, and it was everything the clerk had said it was, and then some. And the road got worse, and the skies got darker. And Doc was glad enough when he saw the other gates. They were pretty impressive too, of course in a different way. They kind of reminded Doc of the smokestacks outside Steeltown where he had practiced for a few years. Yeah, this time he wasn't going to take any advice from a reception clerk. Of course, he wasn't registered, so that was a little bit of a problem. And then they tried to scare him off by telling him that he entered at his own risk. And there were some pretty tough characters about. But he reminded them that he had practiced in Steeltown after all. So they finally let him in and directed him to Paisley Grew in level 314 and pit number 16,143. Paisley recognized him right on. Well, Doc, it's good to see you, but kind of sorry to see you here. Well, you called. Now, tell me about that indigestion of yours. Well, Doc, when I first got here, I thought the climate was doing me good, but not so sure now. Tried everything. Even had myself transferred to the boiling asphalt lakes. Nothing seems to work. And this last night, I didn't have anything I don't normally eat. Well, maybe a shot of hot sulfur, but you know. About 3 in the morning, I woke up and it was like a knife. And he went on and on and on. And Doc listened, happy as a clam. And when Paisley finally ran down, Doc prescribed for him. Oh, just a little soda bicarb. But Paisley said it did wonders. And then they got to talking about the old times, and Doc asked him about his situation. He said, well, Doc, I'll tell you, it's hot enough to be sure, and they do work you pretty hard, and some of the characters are pretty rough. But I tell you what, it's a lot better than the state pen. Say, Doc, I know you're just visiting, but, you know, there's a couple of the fellows, nothing really wrong with them, but if you could take a look. I was thinking office hours would be 9 to 1. So Doc hung out his shingle, and patients started coming. Now, they didn't have too many doctors in that establishment, and the ones that they did have weren't exactly the cream of the crop. So he had it pretty much all to himself. Oh, it was mostly scrapes and bruises, dislocations, burns, scalds. And occasionally he got something little unusual, like the time one of the guards got a piece of himself kind of madly mangled in a rock slide. And, well, Doc had never set a tail before. But even without x-ray equipment, he got a beautiful primary union. So he kept busy. Every now and then he had a rumor that maybe the authorities weren't too happy with him, but he was used to that and he just ignored it. Then one day, they sent an inspector. Now, he was civil enough, and Doc showed him around the free dispensary, the clinic that he ran with its nurse, Miss Smith, the dental chair he'd rigged up with the help of a fellow named Ferguson. I'm sorry, Dr. Melhorn, but it just won't do. Oh, we could overlook the alleviation of minor suffering, but these people are here to suffer, and there's no getting around that. But you've been playing Merry Hades with the entire system. Take these reports you've sent in. You've condemned 513 levels of this pit as an unsanitary nuisance. And you've recommended 2,724 lost souls for physical therapy, remedial diet, hospitalization. Yet, and I'll stand behind every one of those recommendations. Now that we've got the chair running, we can do most of the dental work on the spot. Only Ferguson needs more amalgam. Yes, that leads to these unauthorized requisitions. Well, Ferguson needs more amalgam. And that last batch you sent wasn't standard. Why, I wouldn't use it on a dog. He's always needing more amalgam. Is he going to fill every tooth in Hades? Never mind. We'll just take one item. Your complete unauthorized employment of Miss Smith. She's supposed to be gnawed by an undying worm every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Besides, she's not even a registered nurse. No, she's a practical one. Now, sure, a lot of her patients back on Earth died, but that was because when she didn't like a patient, she poisoned him. Now, she can't do that here. She's been doing A1 work for me, and I'd like to recommend, please, please. Not only that, you've been messing with the staff. I have a note here on young Asmodeus the 14th. Oh, you mean Mickey? That's short for Mickey Mouse. That's what we call him here in the clinic. He's quite the young imp, isn't he? The original Asmodeus is one of our most prominent citizens. How do you think he felt when he got your report that his 14th great-grandson had rickets? Well, I know rickets, and he had them. And you're going to keep having rickets in these youngsters if you keep feeding them low-grade Coke. Now, I put Mickey on the best Pennsylvania anthracite, and look at him now. Oh, I admit the success of your treatment, but we've been deluged with requests for anthracite from as far south as Sheol. Yeah, his horns were just coming in when he came to us, and they were built crooked. But look at them now. Have you ever seen a straighter pair? Of course, if I'd had cod liver oil. You know, you really need a pharmacist. I can't do it all. No, no. You have no right here. Why, you don't even have a license to practice. Well, that is a little unusual, but I am a member of 4 different medical associations, and I'll take any test required. No, no, no. You can't stay here, and that's final. Well, there wasn't any work for me in the other establishment, and now you won't let me stay? Well, tell me, if you do throw me out, what'll happen to Smith and Ferguson and all the rest of them? Oh, what's done is done. We'll have to continue with the anthracite and all the rest of it. Well, Smith and Ferguson can handle the practice, but that's got to be a promise. It's a promise. And then there's young Mickey, young Asmodeus, it seems he wants to be a doctor, but I don't see where he'll get his training. Will found the finest medical school you ever saw. Now, if you don't mind, well then, all right. But my instructions, we were to give you a banquet. After all, the community appreciates. Thanks, but no thanks. If I have to go, I'd rather just go. Never did care for testimonials. But before he left, he did pull a silver $50 out of young Mickey Asmodeus's chin. So Doc found himself on the road again. Didn't quite remember it as the way it was, but before long, Lizzie was bouncing down a residential street. She stopped at the right house. Mother, Father, Uncle Frank, Grandma. Later, he was walking with Uncle Frank. The thing I don't understand is why I didn't notice the gates. The second time around. Oh, those gates. Well, they have to be there. Literature, you know. But the fact is, those gates are for one kind of person. You pass them and you can rest for all eternity. Suits some, but not a Melhorn. You, I know, would never be happy without your practice. But if there isn't so much as a case of mumps in the whole establishment, mumps? Huh! How many new souls you reckon we get here a day? And how many of them are in first-class condition? Oh, so it would be a place. Well, tell me, would it be all right if I go to the other establishment occasionally? Smith and Ferguson are all right, but I'd like to stay in touch. Well, you can take that up with the delegation. Delegation? Oh, you don't realize you're a famous man. You refused the gate the first crack, and you've broken virtually every regulation except the fire laws. Now hold your head up and act like money's being bid on you. Look, you've certainly brought them out. Approaching was a tall, grave man in robes. He looked like he owned them, not like they were in a college commencement. In his left hand, he carried a staff with 2 fangless serpents intertwined. Welcome, brother, said Asmo. No, it's not Hippocrates. No, not him, the other one. The man we were talking about, who I said before. No, not Hippocrates. It's Asclepius. Welcome, brother, said Asclepius. Doc shook the outstretched hand, and then he pulled a silver $50 out of the mouth of the left-hand snake.
Charlie St. Clair, stay up here, stay up here. Donna, Kirsten, Sherry.